What's up, guys? How are you all doing? Hey, welcome to another Maker Monday. How are you guys doing? I'm glad to be getting back into the swing of things, making the Maker Monday videos. For this Maker Monday, we're going to be checking out basically how to begin your own electronics lab. And I say the first thing that I would definitely begin with would be some good soldering material, especially if you're wanting to build, like a solder lab, okay? So good soldering material is always good. I'll probably do a few Mondays of this, basically what I've got set up, things I've accumulated over the years, and look a few things that might help the beginner get going. Now, I will say we're gonna focus this on solder stuff currently. So I've got my soldering bench right beside me where I do the most of my rework. So first things first, if you're going to be soldering indoors, I highly recommend getting a fume hood of some sort. There's many different videos on how to make one yourself, but I find you can get these fairly cheap off of eBay. I think this one's actually from Amazon. They're fairly cheap and they just help with your overall health. I still would recommend opening a window. Behind me, actually, you can't see, but behind me I actually have windows back behind me, so I usually crack a window and then turn this on. It just helps. It's got a charcoal filter and it just helps filter a lot of that smoke that comes off of the soldering iron. So I recommend getting one of those. The next thing that I would recommend getting is get a decent soldering iron. I'm getting ready to upgrade mine actually, but get a decent one. This one is a Weller. Let's see, I don't know what, it's the WES51 is the one that I have, which is an analog dial controlled soldering iron. Here's the power box right here. I don't know if you can see that. But basically, it was a little over $100 for it. The Hakko, or H-A-K-K-O, Hakko, that company is very good. At one of my last companies I worked at, we had actually a whole slew of those that were really good little soldering units that were fairly inexpensive. Like I said, I'd spend a good $100 on it. The little small ones that you get, I mean, they're all right, but you have to get the right wattage, and then the tips aren't very interchangeable. It only has one style of tip. They're just kind of hard to work with. So I highly recommend get a good quality soldering iron. If you know you're going to be doing a lot of soldering, get a good quality one because it will save you in the long run. Now, I would recommend the different tips I would recommend are the different chisel and screwdriver tips. Let me see if I can't show you some of these. This is one of the screwdriver tips. See how it's like a flat blade? That's a very good one. I always get a bigger one. Let me drop this in my hand. I always get a bigger one, okay? So for doing large things, as well as even if you have fine pitch stuff, and let's say it's through hole, if you have fine pitch stuff and it's through hole, you can lay this across maybe 2 or 3 pins and pull that out. Maybe it's a push button or something. You can lay it across it and pull it out. That way it heats up both of them. So a nice wide one is very good, as well as a very thin one for when you do, see, like this one's a little tiny, for when you do very intricate work. I would say that's really good, as well as just a good all-around general purpose one, which I've got on the end of this, except I'm gonna have to get a new one because I think this one's starting to get old, but just a general conical does great, all right? So that's definitely one thing to get. Now, most of these soldering irons will come with a wet sponge, which is good for dabbing off your solder, but one of the greatest things that you can get is one of these. It's just a copper, mine's a Hakko 599B tip cleaner is what it is, and you got this like little copper fluff that's inside here, and this works wonders for when you're tinning the tip of your soldering iron. And we may do some videos, let me know down in the comments if you'd like some videos on just soldering tips, things to do, no pun intended, on soldering tips and tricks to do, like how to tin the tip of it properly, whether tip tinner is good or not, and things like that. If you want to let me know down in the comments. I'd be glad to add that to our Maker Monday stuff, because as you know, it's hard to come up with ideas for all this stuff, especially one every week. So any ideas would be very helpful for quick little things for Maker Monday. So definitely get one of these, okay? These are very, very good. They help clean off excess solder and things like that, and it helps tin the tip of it. Now, I definitely recommend a nice quality solder mat, okay? This one I found on Amazon, actually. I found it recently. It's a little solder mat. It's silicone, so you can take the soldering iron and put it directly on it. It's not gonna burn it. That's a very good thing to have, is a good soldering mat. You can find ESD mats, I think they're the same deal, but they can get kind of pricey. I think just a regular solder mat would be just fine, all right? And then another thing that is very invaluable is a pan vise. That's this guy right here. This guy, I bought the vise first, and then I bought this little tray that it's connected to. I don't know if you can see that, but you see the little tray that it's connected to where you can set excess parts and junk like I have. But get one of these vises. These things are not very expensive, and they're just awesome because they hold your work so well. If you can't afford this, something that you can find at flea markets, you can find on eBay, I think you can even find it at some drugstores, is one of these. It's called a third hand. Oop, get it in front of the camera. It's called a third hand. And what I've done is I've taken the little alligator clips that are on it and put a little heat shrink tubing on them. See, so that way it doesn't scratch, you know, my boards or scratch up any plastic parts or anything I'm putting in here. But this thing helps immensely. This is what I started out using, was one of these third hands. Works great. You can turn it, you can put circuit boards in it. It'll hold wires while you solder them. It is actually a very helpful tool, and I keep it around. Every now and then I use it. It even has a magnifying glass on it now. I don't know, burn ants with it or something, but I haven't really used it a whole lot, so I don't know. Yeah, it's got a magnifying glass. But I don't know, those of you that may need some more magnification, you know, that'd be great. And speaking of magnification, one other extremely useful tool in the lab. As we know, surface mount parts and things like that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller all the time, right? So something great, and I don't know about you, but obviously I wear glasses. My eyeballs aren't the greatest things since they used to be. So get yourself a good quality eye loop. That's what these are. They're just a little magnifying eye loop. The one that I use is a Bosch & Loam. It is a 1 1/4 inch by 8x, okay? And then it'll also do 1/2 inch by 18x is what mine is. So that means the distance you hold it away from the part. So if I hold it 1 1/4 inches away from the part, I get about 8x magnification. If I hold it only 1/2 inch away from the part, I get 18x magnification. So get one of these. Like I said, this one's a Bosch & Loam. You can find these Amazon or eBay or, you know, wherever, Alibaba, whatever, or AliExpress, whatever. Find these and get one of those because it really helps with those teeny tiny little parts. And the cool thing about these is the reason they're called an eye loop is because you can actually set it, you raise your eyebrows high, put it on your eye, and just like a monocle that the Monopoly guy uses, squeeze down on it and it'll stay. And then you look like Dr. Evil. Any case, so take this and get one of these. These help immensely, especially when you need to see something very tiny. Also, I like these little water bottles. The last company I worked for actually used this, and I thought this was a genius idea. Get these little squirt bottles. You know, they squirt water, okay, to wet your sponge with. So if you have one of these, you know, the Docker and the sponge, you just squirt the water on the sponge, and then that way you're not trying to dip the sponge in some bowl of water, which you may spill everywhere, or whatever, or you're dragging it in sopping wet, trying to throw it in here. Just get one of these, and then you just squirt it down, and then there you go. You wet your sponge. Very handy little bottle. These are on Amazon. I think it's where I picked this one up. You can probably find these all over the internet, but it's just these little squirt bottles. It works fantastically, okay? So that's definitely some stuff that you want to get into for the basics. How are we doing on time? And we're about out of time. So I will say one last thing that I would recommend having is if you ever have to do any kind of chemicals or anything, like if you want alcohol or something to scrub down a board with, get a box of these chem wipes. These things are great. I really enjoy these. I've been buying a bunch of these. They're the Science brand. Ooh. But they're called Chem Wipes by Chemtech. And I don't know what they're made out of, but it's a super absorbent material. It'll suck up all kinds of stuff. So even if you spill something, they suck it up pretty quick. And like I said, they come in this little like Kleenex box, and they're just fantastic. I can't remember, there's 280 of them in a box. They just work great. So I highly recommend that. So for your first starter, I would definitely get a fume hood. get some sort of a vise, whether it be a pan vise, you know, or one of these helping hands. It really helps out holding your circuit board while you can use your two hands to solder. And get a decent soldering iron. I mean, I can't stress that enough. I did not know the difference because I had just the Radio Shack ones. Those of you that remember Radio Shack, I had the Radio Shack ones that are just, you know, I don't know, they're like $5. You know, you plug them in, they get hot. That's how they work. Yeah, that was night and day difference. And now this one isn't like a super high-end, high-quality one like a Metcal or something. You know, Metcals are extremely expensive, but they are absolutely beautiful to use. If you ever get a chance to use a Metcal, don't, because you will fall in love with it. I'm not kidding you. You will fall in love with that soldering iron, and that's the only soldering iron you'll want to use because they work so well. But when you look at the price tag, you'll see what I mean. You'll see why you shouldn't have used it because they are expensive. But you do get what you pay for. I've used many Metcals from past jobs and whatnot. They are an amazing soldering iron, and I am spoiled. I do want one. I will most likely probably get one. But anyway, got to save some money first. But these work great, whether it's the Hakos, the Wellers, doesn't matter. Get yourself a good soldering iron, and like I said, be prepared to spend a little bit of money on it. I mean, if I would get that before I'd get anything else, and just, yeah, make sure you crack windows, maybe put a little fan up or something to get the fumes out of your face where you're not breathing that if you're working on a budget. But definitely pick up a good quality soldering iron. Go ahead and save your money and buy that, because that one is very important. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Maker Monday. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments below any other things you would like to discuss during our Maker Mondays. I'll try to keep content fresh as much as I possibly can. Also, check out the Google forum that's down below. I created that a while back. I've had a few people talk on it, mostly Home Assistant stuff, but I've got different channels within that forum for all different things, talking about Raspberry Pis, or talking about soldering, or talking about many different things. Please sign up there, and like I say, when you sign up, I haven't figured out how to get the Google to where the minute you sign up, it just approves you. I think Google makes it where I have to approve everything, but trust me, I get it on my phone, on my cell phone, so I will try to approve it as fast as I possibly can. So just wait a few minutes and you'll be approved. If you can't post or something right then, submit the request. I'll approve it within probably 5 minutes. I mean, I would say, because I get the buzz on my phone that somebody has asked for membership to the group. So definitely check out that group forum down below, because I'd love to build a community here. I've said this multiple times in my videos, but I'd love to build a community of it, because we get a lot of really good questions that are on the individual videos, and I know that many of you would probably benefit from these because you're in the same area. Like maybe you're watching the videos on Home Assistant, but you haven't watched that one specific video that someone has asked that specific question, you know, and so you're not seeing it. Whereas it would be nice if you could go to a forum, click on Home Assistant, and you could search. You know, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is I'm looking for a place where you guys can search for answers, okay? Because I would love to answer all your questions, but I'm just one guy, and if you haven't noticed, we're almost getting to 10,000 of you. So I can't answer all the questions. I would love to, trust me, I would love to answer every single one of you guys' questions, but I just can't. It's not humanly possible. So I try to do it as best I can, but I may not be able to get you answered. But I bet you'll have better luck on the forum, because then we can answer each other's. And I don't have all the answers. I would be the first to admit that. I don't have all the answers to everything. So I'm hoping that if we kind of build a community out there, we all can answer each other's questions. So guys, I thank you again for joining me on Monday. Hopefully, if you're watching this in the morning, have a great Monday. If you're watching this in the evening, I'm hoping that you're having a beer, relaxing, and you know, your Monday's over with. You don't have to worry about it, and everything's good. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure and hit that like button. That helps out the videos. Hit subscribe, because we're coming up on our 10,000 subscribers. I'm going to do a very special live stream where we're going to give away all kinds of cool products. So share the videos. Definitely get your friends, whoever that would be interested in the content, to subscribe, because once we hit 10,000, it's going to be awesome. So guys, I think that's it. I've talked way too long. That's it for this video. Check me out on all the different social medias down there in the bottomy thing, and follow me so that way you don't miss a minute of any of the updates for our videos. And guys, I will see you next time.